"Your name is tattooed on a man in the morgue," the coroner said. "I've never met anyone by that description." The call came on a Tuesday morning while I was getting ready for work. A woman with an official-sounding voice asked if I was Natalie Simmons. I said yes. She said she was calling from the county medical examiner's office and they needed me to come in right away. I told her there must be some mistake. I hadn't reported anyone missing. She said they found my full name tattooed across a dead man's chest. Natalie Rose Simmons, an elegant script right over his heart. I drove to the morgue in a daze. The coroner led me down a hallway that smelled like chemicals and cold air. She explained that the man had been found in a motel room 3 days ago. No identification, no wallet, no phone. The only clue to his identity was my name permanently inked on his body. She pulled back the sheet and I looked at his face. I had never seen him before in my life. He was maybe 40 years old with dark hair going gray at the temples, a scar above his left eyebrow, hands that looked like they'd done years of manual labor. Nothing about him was familiar at all. I told the coroner I didn't know him. She asked if I was absolutely certain. I said I had never met this man. I would remember someone who tattooed my name on their chest. She showed me a photo of the tattoo. My name in beautiful black ink surrounded by roses and thorns. Underneath it was a date, March 15th, 2019. I felt my blood turn to ice. That was my wedding day, the day I married my husband Jack. This stranger had my name and my wedding date permanently marked on his body, and I had no idea who he was or why. I went home and couldn't stop thinking about it. I pulled out our wedding album and searched every photo for a face that matched the man in the morgue. He wasn't there. I checked the guest list. Nobody matched his description. I even called the venue and asked about staff working that day. Nothing matched. That night, I showed Jack the photo of the tattoo. I watched his face carefully for any reaction. He looked confused and concerned, just like I was. He said he had no idea who the man could be. He held my hand and told me it was probably just some random obsession, a stalker maybe. But something about the way he squeezed my hand too tight made me wonder if he was telling me the whole truth. I started digging. I searched through Jack's old photos and documents while he was at work. In a box in the garage, I found something that stopped my heart. A birth certificate for a baby boy born on March 15th, 1989. 30 years to the day before our wedding. The mother was listed as Sandra Holloway. The father was Jack Simmons, my husband. Jack had a son he never told me about. A son born exactly 30 years before we got married. A son who would be 40 years old now. The same age as the man in the morgue. I confronted Jack that night. I put the birth certificate on the table and asked him to explain. He broke down immediately. He was 19 when Sandra got pregnant. His parents forced him to sign away his rights, and the baby was put up for adoption. He never saw his son again. He never knew what name the adoptive parents gave him. He said he was ashamed and scared to tell me. He thought that part of his life was buried forever. He didn't know his son had been searching for him. I called the coroner the next morning and told her what I'd found. She ran DNA and confirmed it. The man in the morgue was Jack's biological son. His name was Daniel Reeves. He'd spent years searching for his birth parents. He found Jack through a DNA database 6 months ago. He discovered Jack had gotten married on the anniversary of his birth, and he'd tattooed his biological father's wife's name over his heart as a way to feel connected to the family he never had. The motel room where he died was 2 miles from our house. He'd come to meet us, but lost his nerve. He spent 3 days in that room working up the courage to knock on our door. On the 3rd night, his heart gave out, a congenital defect he didn't know he had. He died alone 2 miles away from the father he'd spent his whole life searching for. Jack was devastated. He'd had a son for 40 years and never knew him, never held him, never spoke to him, and now he never would. We buried Daniel in the family plot next to Jack's parents. The headstone says beloved son because that's what he was, even if no one knew it until too late. I still think about that tattoo sometimes. My name permanently inked over his heart. He chose to carry me with him because I was connected to the father he dreamed of meeting. I was part of the family he wanted so desperately to belong to. He died without ever knowing we would have welcomed him with open arms. That's what haunts me most.